What's going on, everyone? It's Stock Picks by Tim here, and we've got quite the red day in the market. I'm going to go over a couple of stocks that I see great value in, and let's start the video. Now, if you're new here, I give you picks on the best stocks and crypto, and I tell you what I'm doing. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe, I definitely appreciate it, and let's start off with AMD. Now, AMD, or Advanced Micro Devices, is right here around a base of about 100, and I think it's a great time to get in. And last time I said it was a great time to get in at 100, it bounced right off about 102 and just blasted off. And this time I'm not going to miss it, so I'm okay with buying it at its current price. But a great way to do this would be to buy in chunks, say in chunks of 3. So you buy, it comes down lower, you buy one more time, comes down lower, you buy again. The only thing about that method is if you buy and then it just runs up. So I think it's worth the trade-off to just buy in chunks and be kind of slower and methodical with it. Doesn't always work out perfectly, but I found that buying in portions definitely mitigates risk. And the goal here is to mitigate risk first and then make money, because you can't make money if you're constantly losing your money. So with AMD, I would potentially buy here where it's at about $103, buy again at about 101, and then buy one more time if it comes under 100. And like I said, the only negative thing with using this method is if right from here it just starts blasting off and I only get a partially built out position, which in that case I would likely just sell and move on to the next opportunity. There's always opportunities out there, but moving back to AMD, I see a great chance with it. It's in a growing industry. The semiconductor space is expected to grow about 46 to 48% compounded annually, all the way up to about 2030. It was only about a week and a half ago that this was trading at about $125. Now, besides this time here in January, we haven't seen this under $100 in quite a long time. The last time I owned AMD share was roughly in 2021, got in about the 70s, 80s, and sold it right around 100 or so, thinking that that would be around the top and it would pull back. Sure enough, it didn't pull back, it just started running. But now I see this area, this $100 area, as a great time to get into AMD, and I will be buying. Now, keeping the semiconductor theme going, let's get into Indy. This is my highest conviction semiconductor stock, and let's get into it. So if AMD isn't your semiconductor cup of tea, I highly recommend you check out Indy. And I urge you to find an executive team that has more experience and that is just better in this industry than Indy. We've got executives that have over 20 years of experience working together at companies like Axiom, Broadcom, Skyworks, Motorola, and the list goes on. So I highly recommend you look into the executive team with Indy if you're going to start looking into it. That's where I would start. I do expect it to hold this like $7 area as a base, but if we do pull back, we can expect roughly about $6.50 or so before coming back up. So I would buy this in chunks as well. I already have a position in this, so I'm just adding. But for example, if I didn't have anything yet, I would likely buy this here, wait for it to pull back a little bit. If it doesn't, just buy again, and try to buy at this base of about 730. Now, we actually had recent news with Indy that they're expecting to be at the very top line of their guidance for revenue, so they might even increase their guidance into the next quarter. So this is great, and we're actually in an industry that is dealing with a shortage right now, so to see Indy Semiconductor give better and better expectations into the future is great news. And this is definitely one of my highest conviction small cap stocks. And I honestly think over the coming years, this will more than double, more than triple. And I have a lot of faith in Indy over the long term. Now, next up is going to be my favorite Bitcoin miner. And we recently had a mining update. And I'll leave you guys a link below if you want more detail on that. But I'm just going to brush over it and then we're going to look at the stock price. I like CleanSpark at its price right now. Getting into their monthly production, they had 318 Bitcoin mined in the month of March. And they're now currently at a 2.3 exahash, which is giving them very close to about 10.5 Bitcoin per day. And they have a deployed fleet of 23,000 miners, but they also go into detail that they're expecting more miners coming online very soon that are immersion cooled, that are giving them even more efficiency. So make sure you check out the video. I'll leave you guys a link at the end screen or a link down below if you want more detail on their mining update, but we've definitely got a lot of great news there. Now looking at CleanSpark on the chart, we are oversold on the RSI, and we're coming towards this support area. This was a previous resistance. I want to see this hold as a support, and I think it will. And it does range from about 1120 to about 1070, so keep an eye on this area. I want to see CleanSpark start establishing support right around this area, and I think it will do that. They're now a profitable company. Their revenue has been continuing to increase, and we're also going to see an increase in their energy side of things, since supply chain issues should be easing. So I'm very excited for CleanSpark, the company, moving forwards, and this is, like I said, my highest conviction Bitcoin miner. And keep an eye on this trend line. See that we respect this trend line. If we break out of it, we may come down to this area, this 9 area. I highly doubt it. I think $10 will be our lowest point if we do come to 10. But I see this $11 area as a great time to add to CleanSpark. Next up is going to be ChargePoint or CHPT, and this one I see as an absolutely fantastic time to get in. It has pulled back quite considerably. It is bearish on the charts, however. We broke from the 300-day. We also broke out of this upward trend line. But keep an eye on this one. See if it holds this resistance as a support. Although personally, it could definitely fall further. But looking at the RSI, we are heavily oversold. And we haven't been this oversold since about January. Since about mid-January, we haven't been this oversold. So I see this as a great time to add to ChargePoint. And I did swing it at roughly that $20 area, like I said, guys. And I see it as a great time to get back in on my short-term swinging position. If you're long-term on this, I think it's great while it's under 20 to continue to add. But I think short-term at this price is a great time to start adding. Now, just like CleanSpark and Indy, ChargePoint has also been seeing increased revenue quarter over quarter. And I'm extremely bullish on ChargePoint, extremely bullish on the future of EVs. And speaking of EVs, let's get into one EV company that I'm actually okay with adding to. That's going to be Nio, and they are actually delivering their ET7s. And delivery started March 28, and they've been continuing throughout this month. And we are going to be seeing deliveries to Europe end of this year, so that's great. And I would argue that by 2024, we will see deliveries in America as well. But I don't know if they've mentioned anything about that. That's just my expectation, that they will be in America at some point. And as a side note, there is actually a Nio headquarters in San Jose, California, so just keep that in mind. Now, I'm really liking Nio where it's at. I think it's going to work towards this $20 base. We might not fall exactly towards it, but I think it's a great time to add into it. We did break from our upward trend line. However, I think there's very little risk buying it at this price. And in terms of Chinese companies, I think Nio is one of the least risky of all. I would also look into Alibaba, but those are the only two Chinese companies that I personally would touch. I'm willing to take some risk into Chinese companies, and this is one that I'm willing to take that risk in. And if you guys are interested in Nio's last earnings, it was like a 2-hour video because they had to translate it in between languages. But I'll leave you guys a link below to my cut up version of it. It's about 50-something minutes if you were really interested in listening to Nio's earnings. But that's basically all I got for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I put out daily videos. And until next time, take it easy.